few short weeks away, and Rumpure Sports is gearing up for the season with the best deal in DFS.
For a limited time only, we are offering new members a 15% discount for the life of their subscription, including SaberSim subs. Simply use the promo code NFL15 when subscribing to take advantage of this great deal before our prices go up.
And at RPS, we don't just give you access to one sport. When you subscribe to our premium service, we give you access to all of our content, including NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, and so much more.
And we're not going to charge extra for access to our preseason content either. Our memberships include all of our content, including the NFL preseason. The best DFS players in the industry give you access to their core plays and slate strategies for every sport and for every slate. Simplify your lineup building process by plugging in picks directly from the top players in the world. Watch our premium live streams to gain a huge edge on the competition. Our guys are live up to lock for the biggest slates, walking you through their last-minute decisions, analyzing breaking news and injury alerts for the major sports.
Again, for a limited time only, you can access our industry-leading DFS content for 15% off our already low price. SaberSim packages are included, so sign up today using the promo code NFL15 for 15% off your subscription for life and start building winning lineups today.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Talking some baseball as usual with the usual crew. Mangone, Hoop, myself, breaking down this big boy slate. We got 15 games on DraftKings, 14 on FanDuel. DraftKings is including the second game of the doubleheader for St. Louis and Chicago. So, man, I can almost guarantee, I'm not going to promise anything, but 99.9% sure this slate will be higher scoring than yesterday's slate, because yesterday's slate was absolutely crazy with us. Team having the most runs at 4. I mean, you don't see that every single day. Absolutely crazy slates. So I expect some scoring in this one today. We do have good pitchers up top, a lot of different options. Coors Field is on the slate. It's an interesting slate for sure. So excited to dive in, talk about it with you all. Let's say some hi to some people in chat so far, though. We got Big Mike, who's always in here, Richie Smalls, Benny Boom, Zodiac Pop, Connor Charger, what's going on? Mike Carr, Derek, Junior, Baseball Dad, William, Paraby, a lot of familiar faces in chat. So we appreciate you hanging out with us. Hit that like button for us, please. Hit that subscribe button. Betty Boom said, did RPS have a promo code for MLB going on right now? We do have a promo code going on right now. It is NFL15, gets you 15% off every single month for the life of your subscription. And it's not going to be going on for too much longer. Hoop can pull it out at any time. NFL season right around the corner, and it will be gone for sure when it comes to that. So we have NFL content going on right now. Best ball rankings. Best ball is very, very popular right now. Simon, Snyder, and JSU got that going. Preseason football, big prize pools. Been crushing over here at RPS, Rubio on the playbooks, Big T, JSU, a lot of people in the preseason streets. So NFL 15 is the promo code Benny Boom. Make sure you do get in Discord if you do join as well. But let's bring in the boys. I'll go to you, Hoop. Missed you on the show yesterday. What's going on? How was your weekend? Anything cool to report? What's going on in your life?
Yeah, not too much. Had a golf outing yesterday. It went well. Still feeling like shit today, but kind of back to the grind. So yeah, I'll be on tomorrow, the show with you tomorrow, and then it's big slate tonight, and we have pitching, tons of hitting, and one little weather spot to kind of take an extra look at, which I think will end up being okay. So yeah, good overall slate, massive slate. Excited to kind of break it all down with you guys.
Got a question for you, Hoop, because Benny Boom said NFL 15 didn't work. It says invalid coupon.
Well, a couple reasons that could occur. It will only work on a weekly or actually only a monthly package. So you got to choose a monthly package. So that's one thing right out of the gate. If you're trying to do a weekly package, it won't work. So it's got to be monthly. I'm guessing that is the main issue. It has to be on a monthly package.
Cool. And if somehow Benny Boom, if it doesn't work with that monthly package, bring it up in chat again, and then we'll have you email support or something, but it should work. It's worked for everyone else. So make sure it's a monthly package. Chris Bentley said, what's up, guys? New to RPS, looking to win some cash with y'all. Hey, we appreciate having you, Chris Bentley. Again, make sure you do get in the Discord as well on the Run Pure Sports website. We have a tutorial how to get in the Discord if you do not know. So love to have you. We got Maul, Michael Cox. What's going on, Mangone? Yesterday's slate, absolutely crazy, man. 4 runs is the highest scoring team on the slate. I think we see some more runs today.
Yeah, definitely was a bit of a rough slate yesterday. Not a fun one to watch, but yeah, overall, hey, we're back to the grind, right? We'll watch all these games. We're gonna be sweating them out. We'll be in the Discord helping you guys out as well. So yeah, pumped, and I'm also pumped. College football's coming up here soon. Like college football season right around the corner. On top of college football, I mean, then we got the NFL that comes up. So hey, it's about to be a really fun time at Run Pure Sports. And if you're a sports fan, like now is a great time to get in. So hey, use that code NFL15. Get you 15% off. And that way we got you here for a while and we can hang out with you for a while because we like having our subscribers in there and talking to the Discord chat and breaking down the winners with you guys. Yeah,
I'm glad you mentioned the college football because, I mean, Saturday's obviously college football Saturday, MMA Saturday, so I'm not really in the streets, but I know it's a really popular DFS sport, really good crew we have with Bruce headlining everything. Snyder's always in the streets, Mangone, you're always in the streets. Susie's always in the streets. We have a really good college football team. Big T is in the streets like he is every single sport. So yeah, that's coming up pretty soon. I'm excited to see some college football on my screen. I like tuning into the big time games, but Saturdays obviously for MMA usually. But yeah, interesting slate today. We'll dive right into it. 15 games, like I said, on DK, 14 on FanDuel. So no time to waste. Let's start with pitcher up top. A lot of good pitching option up top for sure. Rodon, Corbin Burns, Verlander, Dylan Cease, Robbie Ray, Gonsolin, Max Fried. I mean, those are the top 7 pitchers for pricing on the slate, and all of them are very elite pitchers. So I'm going to say 9K and above to start it off since there are so many good elite pitchers up top. Ranger Suarez right there at 9.2K as well. I will say there is one weather spot on the slate that I'm seeing, and that is in Boston today. So Toronto, Boston, make sure to monitor that. We'll be in Discord. We'll talk on the Up to Lock show about it. But Mangone, I'll start with you at pitcher, 9K and above, a lot of options. So how are you going about 9K and above?
Yeah, 9K and above. And actually, you know, it's funny, Title. Like one guy in the chat, I mean, I used to talk in like G chat with him about DFS. He just popped up in the chat, Real King, like back in like 2015. So it's crazy. All the DFS people, we always stay in the community and love it. So I can't wait for college football season.
That's awesome.
Now that was a funny call back there. But yeah, let's talk about this slate because, hey, Carlos Rodon at the top, really great option. One thing that I want to note about Carlos Rodon in this spot, like the Tigers, I typically, when I see a lefty on the mound, I typically don't say, hey, it's time to target the Tigers. I typically like to do it with the righties. So that's one thing that I kind of think about there. But Carlos Rodon is kind of the anomaly situation, right? The dude's just been incredible this year. 7.5K strikeout prop here. I think overall, you cannot ignore Rodon. He's a really good play today. Someone that I'm looking to get exposure to. I'm not worried that much about the Tigers matchup. The question is that 11K price tag worth it when there's other options that you can go to? Can they close the gap enough, right? Like, let's say Rodon gets 30. Well, can Robbie Ray get you to 28 and Ranger Suarez get you to 24? And then the bats make up for it. That is the question. So you have to have cheap enough bats that you like to make it work with Rodon. If I do play Carlos Rodon, I'm probably going to play him with one of these cheaper pitchers just to kind of help make it work for my stacks. Now, the next 2 guys I want to talk about, and I'll probably put them all in the same range. Let's talk about Verlander, Cease, and Robbie Ray. I'm going to take a stand on just fading one of them. I think the guy that I'm planning on fading is Justin Verlander. The reason why I think I'm fading Verlander is because he just has not been as great lately. That has been definitely one of the concerns I've had. I feel like I haven't had that consistency as much this year. Could he pop off for a big game? Sure, but I need to take a stand somewhere. I feel better about playing Robbie Ray. You can make the argument the ownership is going to be higher than the other options. And we know what Robbie Ray can be like. A lot of walks can happen, home runs he can give up, but the strikeouts, the ballpark, the matchup, it's enough where I'm going to take a shot on that Robbie Ray ceiling and just think about how I roster my teams. So I like Robbie Ray in this spot. Definitely going to get exposure to him. The next guy I want to talk about is Dylan Cease. And this is where I had a big debate. Is it Verlander or is it Cease for me? And I went really back and forth on it, but I ultimately decided on Dylan Cease, mainly because Dylan Cease hasn't really let us down that much. Now, did he let down against Houston recently? Yes, he had a letdown performance. But I personally think that Dylan Cease's strikeout rate, which has been 32%, compared to Verlander, who's been at 24%, I think I'd rather take a shot on that. Now the matchup is more of the concern because I think Minnesota is maybe an easier team to pick on. It feels like than Baltimore, but when you look at the actual numbers and the strikeout numbers, Minnesota's been striking out at 20% rate, while Baltimore's been striking out at 24% rate. We saw it the other day with Nick Pivetta. Nick Pivetta didn't seem like he was playing great, but then he ended up with 9 strikeouts. There are a lot of strikeouts in that Baltimore lineup, so I'm going to take a shot on that. And Mike, I don't think it was Mike. It was someone in the chat was laughing about the Verlander thing that I said. Oh yeah, Mike Spencer. He said, fade Verlander, LOL. Mike, that's fine. Like, I have to take a stand on something. I can't just go out there and play every single pitcher, right? You have to take some kind of stand at the pitcher position. And then I try to take at least one stand at the bats. And then I just try and go with it. If you like Verlander, I'm not going to talk you off Verlander. That's just the guy that I felt like if I could pick some holes in, it was maybe him. You could make the argument it could be Robbie Ray because of the ownership. And I don't think I'd push back too much, but I just think this spot against Washington is way too good to pass up, especially with the ballpark as well. So overall, I'm going with Robbie Ray. I'm going to fade Verlander and hope for the best. Did you say 9K and above title?
Yep.
Okay, so there's one more guy we should talk about here that I definitely want to mention, and it's Ranger Suarez. I'm curious to see what DC says on the premium show about Nick Lodolo, because, hey, I don't think it's a bad option because Philadelphia, they're a team that I feel like they can strike out a lot or they can hit a bunch of home runs. It's like they're very hit or miss. They're kind of like the Yankees of light, where sometimes they can go off and sometimes they can just really be bad. But I think Ranger Suarez is the interesting one there against Cincinnati. Cincinnati has been hitting the ball a little bit better, but at the end of the day, Cincinnati is not that great of a baseball team. It is a worse ballpark for them because they typically play in Cincinnati, and Suarez has been solid. So I think taking a shot on him is not a bad option. I do worry, though, at 9.2K, part of me has thought about when I kind of put together my content for like my single entry 3-max, do I do a Ranger Suarez or do I just find $1,300 more for Justin Verlander? That depends on what bats you're getting into your lineups, right? Because like I just needed some kind of salary relief options, and there's a cheaper salary relief play that I'll talk about once we kind of go to hoop that I like a ton that I'm definitely going to load up on. But I think Suarez at 9.2 definitely could be worth it here in this spot against a Cincinnati team that I'm just not scared of at all.
Yeah, no, good points there for sure. And there's so many elite pitchers, like we're saying. If you look at Robbie Ray and above, Robbie Ray sees Verlander, Corbin Burns, Rodon, and your case to fade Verlander. He does have the lowest strikeout prop out of all those guys up top, and he just doesn't have, or as of late, of course he has the upside. It's Justin Verlander. All of these guys up top have the upside, but Cease, I mean, you go Corbin Burns, Rodon, all of those guys have had higher strikeout upside. I think their strikeout ceiling is higher than Verlander's. Now, I will say, Derek made a good point. We just got this news a couple minutes ago. Byron Buxton is headed to the IL. Which is a big bump for Verlander, obviously, without their biggest bat. So that is an interesting.
Tyler, that's a fair point. Did that news just come in?
It literally just hit, yeah, like
okay.
While you were talking.
That could definitely change my opinion. One more thing that could change my opinion, like I'm not sold on my bats on this slate, and because I'm not sold on them, maybe I go to some cheaper offenses where like maybe I decide to fade like a Ranger Suarez instead to go to a Verlander, right? Like that might be something that I think a little bit about more, because I'll admit, I mean, if you go look at my premium content right now, you'll see I got 5 pitchers and I have 1 offense, and like trying to figure out the other offenses is not that easy right now. And it's definitely gonna be something I'm excited to kind of talk through with you guys to kind of see what we can find, because I don't think it's an easy slate.
Yeah, no, I think, 15 games, there's usually a lot of options you can go. Pitching, you can definitely go to a lot. And hitting, I mean, I think the Rangers are going to be the most chalky, but we're not talking 30% stacking wise. And I think it's hitting spread out. So I think it's a good one. Got to bring you in this hoop. Help us out. I mean, touch on Verlander to start with the Buxton news. And then Max Fried, someone asked about as well. But 9K and above, there's so many good options. What are you doing up here?
Yeah, I think what I'm going to be doing today is just kind of playing these matchups. I mean, there's a lot of really good pitchers on the slate, but there's some really good pitchers that have really good matchups as well. And that's kind of where I'm going to be focused on. And at the top, it starts with Rodon at 11K. And yes, at one point this season, the Tigers were okay against lefties. Well, recently they've been bad against lefties and righties. They've just been a terrible offense. And Rodon should just be able to mow down this team today. 11K, love him. Burns, I'm not going to pick on the Dodgers here. There's no need. Like I said, I just like these pitchers that have better matchups. Verlander has just not been the same Verlander. And I've seen it a lot of times here in Detroit where he just kind of goes through the motions, and he's just kind of pitching to contact now, not really looking for the strikeouts. Will he pick it up, once the playoffs start? Yeah, but for the foreseeable future, I'll probably be off of Verlander. Now, yes, Buxton out of the lineup is a big boost. So if you're on Verlander, yeah, definitely give him a boost. But I'm just not going to be playing all these guys, so I'll be cutting him. Robbie Ray at 9-9, another guy that's in a really good matchup in one of the most pitcher-friendly ballparks in Seattle against this just awful Washington Nationals team. So give me Robbie Ray for sure at 9K. It's a great price tag, solid savings. You can start teams with them. Really like Robbie Ray at 9K. Then the next two
999 DK,
sorry.
No,
Yeah,
you're good.
say 99. Yeah, 99. And then the next two guys that I have interest in are Fried and Suarez. I'm just going to kind of use those guys in lineups where I can't get to Ray and Rodon. I'd be fine coming down to Max Fried or Suarez, two pitchers that have really good matchups. Max Fried gets a matchup in Pittsburgh, another very pitcher-friendly ballpark. We've seen some huge pitcher performances this season against the Pirates. So Fried, 2 starts in now, 93 pitches, 93. So I mean, he's full go. And then Suarez, not typically a guy that we play in DFS, but he's been solid and gets a really good matchup against Cincinnati. So Robbie Ray, Rodon, Fried, Suarez are my guys up here, and I want to play them pretty frequently.
I like it. I'm going to go right back to you, 9K and below. I'll just throw out a couple names that I think might get some ownership that I think are pretty interesting. Pablo Lopez against his Oakland team. Cabrera absolutely smashed him yesterday. I'm not scared about Oakland. Pablo's been pretty decent. Corey Kluber against this Angels team that we're not worried about. Looking at a couple other names. Man, those are the two that really stand out to me. Frankie Montas, that's a no for me. Mike Clevenger at 8-6. We played him a little bit. Gets a little revenge narrative if you're into that. But 9K and below, you did mention a good amount of people you like above. I mean, it's 9K and above is absolutely stacked. So, are you even going to go to anyone below 9K? And if so, who are you going to? Who?
Sorry. All right.
No,
Yeah. So, for me, guys, I'm looking at below 9K. Definitely not Clevenger, not Taijuan Walker. The first name that kind of stands out would be Pablo Lopez. He was bad last time out, but again, another pitcher that faces a very weak offense in Oakland in a pitcher's park. So he'll be in the player pool tonight. Definitely not Montas. We'll talk about that when we get to the offenses because he definitely has not been good here in New York. So we'll talk about him when we get to the offenses. Corey Kluber, I do like the price tag at 7-7. Haven't played a ton of Corey Kluber this season, but again, another pitcher in a good ballpark that gets to face off with a very bad offense. So I'm interested in Kluber at 7-7. And then that's probably where it stops. I mean, if you need to full punt Zach Luge, if that's how you pronounce his name, gets the matchup with Miami, which is also very good. His upside is clearly capped. I mean, you can, only use him in teams where you're really getting all the bats that you want. But at 5-4, all it takes is a few guys up top to kind of miss, and then the punt can come into play and work. So I don't mind him all the way down. Let me just pull up my stuff and make sure. That's going to be it for me. But yeah, I'm good with Pablo Lopez. I'm good with Corey Kluber. And then, like I said, the last guy I'm kind of looking at is Luge, if that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, Logue, I'm going to say, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You could be right. I don't know either.
Luge,
Yeah, I mean, I doubt it's Logue, but I don't know for sure. I'm just going to say Logue.
Maybe it's French. Luge would be like a French guy or something.
I mean, you definitely could be right at the end of the day. I'm just going to keep it easy.
It's probably Logue. Yeah, it's probably Logue. You're probably right.
I mean, we get names wrong all the time. That's part of this. But man, going over to you. You said you had interest in at least one guy, and I also want you to talk about Austin Voth against the White Sox because someone in chat mentioned him too. So 9K and below, who are you targeting? And then touch on Austin Voth a little bit.
Well, let me touch on Austin Voth real quick. I mean, 6.3K, like I understand the punting idea, but like he's only got a 3.5K strikeout prop. It's juiced on the over, but like, I don't know. I just don't think I need to go with Austin Voth here. Also, like of like the weather spots, like this is a little bit of one of the better ones. Like I just don't think Austin Voth is like the spot to like push in on, especially this slate, right? Context matters. I just think there's a lot of good spend ups that we need to go to, and there's not a lot of offenses we're in love with where I don't think Austin Voth is super necessary. If Austin Voth was someone I was looking at, or not if Austin Voth was, if a cheap pitcher is what I was looking at, it'd be Zach Logue or Logue, whatever you want to call him. Just because it's like mainly just punting the position, and it's going down at the spot to like a matchup, right? Like typically when I punt my pitchers, I want to see what the strikeout prop is. It's 4.5. That's kind of encouraging. Like if it was 2.5 or even 3.5, I wouldn't be as excited, but that can at least get it home. The matchup is pretty good against Miami as well. Overall, I just don't think that he's a terrible option if you want a full-on punt, but you're doing that because you're prioritizing your bats. You're saying, give me the SP1 that I want, give me the bats that I want, and the last guy that I'm going to go for is the full-on punt pitcher. That's how you're handling that. Not the route that I'm going to take on this slate. The guy I feel like I might push the chips on a little bit today, and I want to see what that Oakland lineup is because they're a team that's pretty good at getting like righty and lefty heavy if they need to, is Pablo Lopez. Oakland is a team that I think we can definitely target here. And the reason why is, one, they're just not a good baseball team. They have a lot of strikeouts in their lineup. Do they have some power and pop that sometimes can get the job done? Sure, but good ballpark. Another thing to really like about Pablo Lopez, strikeout prop for 8.1K is at 5.5. That's pretty strong. And on top of that, like, you get a good ballpark, you get the long leash on Pablo Lopez. Like, he's not someone you're worried about only going like 4 or 5 innings. You just feel like if he's doing well, they're just going to let him go out there for a long time. So just feels like a lot of stars are aligning for Pablo Lopez to be a pretty good play, and based on his ownership too. Like, I was surprised to see he's within that like 10 to 15% range, kind of like Jordan Montgomery yesterday. I felt like I was given a gift with Jordan Montgomery at that percentage. And I feel like I'm getting that a little bit with Lopez because I think a lot of people are spending up. They're going to Robbie Ray. They're taking shots on like Verlander, Cease. A lot of the ownership at the top is going to spread out, and there's not a lot of bats to go up and spend for. So I think the build of like one spend up pitcher with like a Pablo Lopez is very intriguing, and one that I'm definitely going to be firing on today on this slate.
Yep, good breakdown there. K. Philippe Burner, our guy, said wanted me to touch on Ranger Suarez, or not Ranger Suarez, Jose Suarez, excuse me, at 6.6K. Quick. Yeah, I mean, there's so many good pitchers on the slate, but I mean, if you obviously already have interest in Jose Suarez, I'm not going to talk you off of him because he does have some strikeout upside. 6.6K, he's going to be 2% owned probably. You look at the K prop, 4.5, some juice on the over. The problem with him, he can have a little control issues, but if you're playing for a ceiling, I mean, Tampa Bay, we love playing pitchers in Tampa Bay. We hate taking hitters there. 6.6, he's shown some upside before. I think you're fine doing that. If you want to get different at 2%, you've already had some conviction on it, obviously. I'll say go ahead. I'm not going to talk you out of him. You won't see him in my lineups. There's so many good pitching options. If this was a 7-game slate, yeah, he could be one of the more popular pitchers if it was a really weak slate. 2% though, some strikeout upside against this Tampa Bay team I'm not worried about. That's my thoughts on Jose Suarez, K. Philippe. Let's wrap up pitching on this slate though. Absolutely loaded. Mangon, I'll go to you. I'll say top 4 pitchers.
Yeah. One last thing I'll mention real quick before we I'll give the top 4 in a second. Like, the guy that I saw someone mention in chat that I thought was interesting was they talked about JT Brubaker, and he's got like a 24% strikeout rate, and talked about him last week a little bit. The reason I think I would play the Brubaker idea is, one, it's a 5.5K strikeout prop, which is kind of interesting. And 2, I think Atlanta gains some ownership. Like, if you had to pick like the guy that, like, if you were leveraging some kind of offense today with the pitcher, it'd probably be Brubaker to me, as crazy as it sounds, but like, I'm not thinking this is the slate to do it. But if that's something you like to do, that's kind of the thing that I would think about, but not my strategy for sure on this slate. But someone did ask about a guy like Brubaker, so I wanted to kind of touch on that point a little bit. Top 4 pitchers for me. I'm going to go with Rodon, number 1. Agreed with what Hoop said. Matchup's really good. Just seems like he's so safe, and the upside is good too. Like, everything just seems like he's like the best play on the slate, but you have to pay for it. So if you want to pay that 11K, that's certainly fine. Number 2 for me is going to be Robbie Ray. Number 3 will be Dylan Cease. And then number 4 is going to be Pablo Lopez. And I might even like jump Pablo Lopez up to actually 3 over a guy like Dylan Cease, mainly because I just really like that value and like what it could do for my full lineup when I go to Pablo Lopez more at my SP2. So I think he's someone I'm definitely going to be overweight on today and making sure to be like my like favorite value pitcher on the slate.
I like it. And Hoop, you might be right. If William is correct on what he's saying, he says it's like Luke Gay, the MMA fighter. So that'd be Low Gay something like you said. So you might be right if William is right on that. Yeah, you might be right.
Holden to verify.
Let's get your top 4 pitchers though.
Robbie Ray, Rodon, Fried. I like Fried, and then Corey Kluber.
Nice. I like it. That is pitching on the slate. Again, the only weather concern it looks like is Boston and Toronto. We didn't really talk about pitchers in that game, so I don't think you have to worry about that from a pitching standpoint. As always, do us a favor, hit that like button for us, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. I saw a couple people in chat saying Title pulled out yesterday at 298 and all this stuff. hey, when the buzzer goes off in an NBA game, well, what can you do? You can't score any more points. I give plenty of time. I say it throughout the whole show. Be nice about it. Try and give a lot of warning. Try and stall. If I see not 300 when I have to look, 298 is not 300 at the end of the day. You lose by one. It's an unfortunate scene, but L's and L's. So don't make me do that again. I want to get to the plays of the day. Like button, big red subscribe button. We always do appreciate it. And let's talk some members never win segment. One of my favorite segments. We got Trackman 74, $4,000 in NASCAR. Congrats to you. Mill 1155, 5,000 in NFL. Showtime 8319, 10,000 in NFL. And then DFW Beatdown 15,000 in MLB. Man, it feels nice to see some NFL screenshots in there and already saying NFL. Preseason, like we said, has been very good so far. Rubio's done a great job. Kurt, Big T, all the guys over there. Still got 1 week left of preseason. Congrats to you for the Trackman, Mill, Showtime, DFW Beatdown. And again, if you want to be on this segment, we have a members never win segment in Discord. Drop in the screenshots and you have a chance to be on here. So let's go game by game as always. Monster 15 game slate on DK, 14 on FanDuel. Started off with the Atlanta Braves, the Pittsburgh Pirates, Max Fried, JT Brewer-Baker on the mound. Hoop, I'll start with you. Any Pirates, any Braves for you?
Yeah, I'm not going to be on the Pirates here. Like I said, I like Fried. I mean, I guess if you're looking for a punt, Michael Chavis is a guy that's somewhat interesting. In lineups where you're going to play Rodon and Robbie Ray, and you need some salary savings. Very cheap guys like Chavis, I think in play, I'll keep in my player pool, but I will have some Atlanta stacks. I mean, they're just a team, regardless of where they're at, regardless for the most part of who they're facing. They have a chance to win the slate almost every single night. Ownership should be in check. We have Coors Field. We have them in this not so great ballpark for hitting. So I think the ownership does come in low. So you don't really need to worry about who you play or how you stack. You can just play the best guys here. Acuna, Riley, Olsen, I think would be on all my Braves stacks. I'll play them. Like I said, the ownership is not going to be very high, so their team I will be getting some exposure to, and then just not much here on the Pirate side for me.
Makes sense. If I'm playing the Braves, Michael Harris is definitely in my lineup. Another home run yesterday. Dude's just an absolute stud.
And he doesn't get ownership because of the spot in the lineup, so he's always just like the perfect guy. Like even, the Braves are going to come in low owned. He'll be a third owned compared to the top end guys. So he's always a great play.
And he always getting the job done. Van Gogh, I want you to talk about this game, but first I need to see a little flex because a lot of people in chat are waiting. He said right away. He said no. I knew that answer was coming.
It was laundry day. I have no clothes. They're all in the laundry, but
they got. I don't know if you saw the producer gave him a new nickname. I don't know if you guys were aware. It's
I did not.
Man Guns.
Oh yeah, man. You might as well just take that shirt off, man. Go. Who needs clothes? It's laundry day. You got nothing. Talk about this game though.
It is getting hot in here for sure, but not yet. We'll have to see. But let's shift on over to this game and talk about the Braves. The Braves are definitely a team that I agree with Hoop. Like, you can play these guys 1 through 9. Like, if you feel confident playing them, like Michael Harris at 4-1, people just won't put him in your lineups. We talked about it yesterday on the show. Like, he's a guy you can put in there. I didn't mind the Braves yesterday, but ended up moving off and mainly just realized this ballpark's terrible. The rain kind of bothered me too. And I just felt like there's other spots I could go to based on the ownership. Now the ownership won't be as high as it was the other days, but I will say this, Seidel, the Braves are a team that they can go off at any time and it wouldn't surprise me. But on this slate and in this ballpark, I just don't want to take the shot on the Braves. And there's other power offenses that I'll take a chance on instead. So I don't think I'm going to be on the Braves today. They're perfectly fine if you want to take a chance on them. I won't talk you off it, but they're not for me today on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Again, 15 games on the slate. You can't play everyone. We have a couple teams above the 5 implied total, a couple teams that are right below it as well. So we're not starved for offense on this slate. Braves, they always get some ownership. But again, the Rangers, I think, will be the chalkiest on the slate. Again, chalky, you can easily get different with the Rangers stack today. It's not one of those slates. But if whoever you like for hitting, if you have conviction on someone, play it. And I wouldn't worry about ownership too much is how I look at it. Let's get to the next game on the slate. New York Mets, New York Yankees, Taijuan Walker, Frankie Montas on the mound. I got to go right back to you, Mangone. You're the Mets guy. Are you going to go to any Mets against these Yankees and then any Yankees against your Mets?
Oh, man, Mets were hurtful yesterday. Like it was one
I
of
mean,
those
every team was though at the end of the day.
It's true, but when I was sitting there watching Title, like it was like the 5th or 6th inning, and I was like, "Come on, like get some runs." And I was like, "I don't even know why I'm like rooting this home. Like it's over. Like when you're like a goose egg in like the 5th or 6th inning, it's over. Like just basically mail it in." So I was mailing it in, hoping it could turn around here for the Mets. I mean, Frankie Montas, I talked about it a little bit the last time out. I kind of thought against righties he could be fine, and Toronto ended up burying him. And Montas definitely feels like a guy that like. He can be real hit or miss, right? And like, I think maybe taking a chance on some Mets is not a terrible idea. I don't think I'm going to shove on them like I did like yesterday, but I'm interested. We'll see, like, as we got to get through the show, we'll see if they make like my final like top 3, top 4 stacks. I don't know if I'll get there on that, but the thing that's at least nice is they got a guy like Beatty in the lineup, right? At 2K, they can help make things work. Like maybe I'll do like a Mets mini stack or something like that to kind of help make it work. It is a good ballpark, which is helpful as well, but overall, I'm not dying to play some Mets. Like I like them, but they're not going to be a team that I'm like shoving on today.
And what about Yankees? No Yankees either?
Yeah, no Yankees, I don't think. They are playing against Taiwan Walker, but I don't know. The problem I'm going to run into, and I think a lot of people are going to run into this. Look at this slate. And Yankees prices have gotten a little cheaper, but like when you put Aaron Judge in at 6K, Anthony Rizzo, you have bottom of the order guys against Cabrera that can help make it work. I don't want to roster Kiner Falefa, and you can roster Kyle H, as I like to call him, so I don't have to tempt that last name. I guess they do have enough value where you could make it work, but like we have a lot of pitchers we want to spend on. So when you put that Yankee stack in there, it's not going to be that easy to make it work. So maybe with Oswaldo Cabrera and Kyle H, I can kind of make it work a little bit better. I should run a couple things before we get off the show. Maybe when we get back to the stacks, I'll circle back to the Yankees, because looking at their prices more and more, like there are some more interesting price tags that help make things work, right? Benintendi at 3.8K, Aaron Judge at 6K is obviously someone you want to just put into your lineup. So how are you going to, if you put Aaron Judge in there, how are you going to compensate for that? And Benintendi's the one guy. You can say Cabrera's another one that can help make it work. And my boy Kyle H. I'm not playing Kiner Falefa. That dude has 1 home run on the year, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'll join you on that boat as well. Mets, Yankees, what do you got?
Yeah, I think the Mets are an interesting stack here. I mean, Montas got rocked last time out against Toronto. I think he's definitely going to, face some regression here pitching in New York on a frequent basis in Yankee Stadium. So, Vogelbach stands out, that short porch in right field. I think he can definitely take advantage of it. Lindor, I think, is interesting. Honestly, the lefties I like quite a bit. Neiman, Jeff McNeil. So I'd be looking at the Mets lefties. Should be low owned. If you're making a bunch of teams, I would get some exposure here. And then the Yankees, I was going to be off of them, but you start looking around, I have a little more interest. I mean, Judge is, Aaron Judge. I think you can play him every slate, basically every matchup. Benintendi heating up a little bit. Looks like 2 for 3 in his last 2 games. 1 home run. So yeah, it was a rough start for him heading to New York, but starting to turn it around a little bit. And he's cheap, 3.8K. So him, Judge, I agree with Kyle. I'm not going to slaughter another last name. I'll stick with the trend. And
you might be right, though. You might be
Kyle
1 for 1.
Higashioka, I'm assuming is how you pronounce that one. In on him, you got Oswaldo Cabrera, a full punt at 2K. So if you want to play the Yankees and pay up at pitcher, that 2K punt helps out quite a bit. So I'd be, somewhat picky with the Yankees that I do play, but Judge would certainly be one of them. Both sides of this game should be low owned. So if you're building 150 lineups, you get a little bit of exposure. Should be easy to get over the field.
Yep. Makes some sense.
Tyler, here's a crazy thing about the Yankees, like just to call out, like the thing that's really nice about, like, yes, this bottom of the lineup's not as good. Like I totally agree, but to make these 5-man stacks work on these slates with like just some big bats, the way you can make it work, or it's not big bats, I mean, the big pitchers up top, is because Oswaldo Cabrera and Aaron Judge, right? They add up to 8K. Well, you know what adds up to 8K also? Guy like Paul DeJong and Dylan Carlson. Like you just feel like you're getting like this like massive upgrade with like that 2v2 because you get the guy like Aaron Judge in there. So like those 2K guys, yes, they can be a little discouraging to have in your lineups. You want to make sure you don't have too many of them where like you just have too many guys that can dud, but they're going to help be able to give you that Yankee stack with those big top end pitchers as well. So that's just definitely something to think about here of how it's easier to get these Yankee stacks maybe onto your lineups.
Yeah, I mean, and we talk about all the time in baseball. Like you can win with a 0 in your lineup in baseball, especially at 2K. I mean, you can win at 5. Aaron Judge 0, you can win if you got the right double dong and stuff. It's not NBA where you ain't winning with a 0 in your lineup. There's just no way it happens. So yeah, good points there. Interesting game. New York, the Mets, they should be low owned. I do agree with that. Let's get to the next game on the slate. Chicago White Sox, Baltimore Orioles, Dylan Cease, Austin Voth on the mound. I'm not seeing much. It's 7.5 total. Hoop, what do you got?
This game will be a pass for me. Obviously Dylan Cease, very quality pitcher. The Orioles obviously have shown some life here, as of late, but just not the spot for them. And then, the White Sox team, the totals are sitting at 4. Not much I like in this lineup. If I was going anywhere, AJ Pollock is relatively cheap. My boy Gavin Sheets at 2.4K, but I'm not going to be stacking up the White Sox today. So game will be a fade for me outside of some one-offs there.
Man guns.
Yeah, I blanked on what game you're on because I was reading the chat. I saw boy Snyder in there, so I
know you don't have interest, but it's White Sox, Baltimore.
Yeah, it's hard for me to get excited about the White Sox. I just can't do it. I mean, it's a slate where I want to be interested in them, but I just can't do it. I think, to be fair, Austin Voth is a 3.5 total. I'm that lineup's just so bad though right now. I mean, Elvis Andrus is in there. What are we doing? So I'm out on that one.
Yeah, the bottom. I mean, Elvis Andrus though, dude hits a home run and then gets cut the next day. Man, that's a tough scene. What can you do to stay on the roster? That was funny, but he did get picked up for the White Sox. He is in the 7 hole today. Let's see what we got with the likes right now. 485 watching, 187 likes. Solid. It's not too hurtful right now. It definitely could be better. We do need 300. No one can say I don't give you enough notice. We appreciate it. Like button, big red subscribe button in the bottom right. Takes 2 seconds. We all are happy. Simon's happy behind the sticks. We always do appreciate it. Like, subscribe. Thank you very much. Next game on the slate, Cincinnati Reds, Philadelphia Phillies, Nick Lodolo, Ranger Suarez on the mound. I'll go back to you, Mangone. Phillies have a decent implied total. They were on the winner yesterday with 4 runs, which is kind of crazy. Are they going to be on the winner today?
Yeah, I'm torn on what to do with this situation because, if you look at Lodolo and you look at some of these righties, they could definitely get a hold of him, right? And that's what Lodolo's problems were when he started out. I know it's kind of normalized a little bit, but I do think some of these righties can get a hold of him, like a Rhys Hoskins and Alec Bohm, who's been hitting the ball a lot better. JSURab Muto, maybe Nick Castellano starts to figure it out. And adding Segura into that 6 hole there, which he wasn't in the lineup a little bit longer ago, but when adding him in there has helped out a lot. So overall, I think this Phillies team, they're in play, but probably more as the mini stack. And the one thing I look at too when I roster these Phillies, I did it yesterday. I was building my Mets 5-man stacks and I'm looking at the Phillies 3-mans, and all the Phillies 3-man stacks have all the bottom of the order guys in there, just as the value plays because of how expensive my stacks were. So it's that's the one thing I kept running into. I could never have teams where I was getting Hoskins and a Real Muto, and they just didn't really fit my Met stack. So maybe if I can find a way to get it where I'm getting in my 3-man stacks, I'm getting at least one of a Real Muto and a Hoskins, and then with one of these bottom of the order guys like Sosa or Munoz, I'm fine with it. But that's definitely something I think about when I roster these Phillies, because when you kind of go and try and put these teams in as a mini stack, sometimes you just get all these 2K guys to help make it work, and you're just not getting enough upside within your lineup and not building a good lineup. The optimizer doesn't understand that. So you either have to set the rule or sift through the lineups a little bit. And I think that's something that's important to do with the Philadelphia Phillies I've noticed over the course of the year.
Yeah, and you make good points there. And if I'm just sitting back listening to you, and that's what everyone else is doing in chat. When Mangone's saying this, how I take it as, man, it's tough to play Real Muto and Hoskins and Bohm and all of them. Schwarber is going to be unowned lefty, but that means if you like the Phillies, try and get those guys in your stacks, because it's going to be very, very low owned, since it is hard to do on a slate like this. So you make good points. I will mention Alec Bohm, back-to-back 3-hit games, double dong 2 games ago. He might be coming on a little hot too, so he would be in my Philly stack if I do it. Man, it's against a lefty though. You love playing Schwarber in your Philly stacks, lefty at this price tag at 6K. No one's going to be on him. What are you doing with these Phillies? And I assume you aren't playing any Reds, Soup.
Yeah, no Reds for me. Definitely on Suarez here. The problem I have is, I guess, what you guys touched on when you go to build teams, or the way I'm trying to build teams today, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get here because of these price tags. I want to prioritize pitching on the slate. I want to be in that upper tier. and I have trouble stacking the Phillies that I want and, get the pitchers that I want. So I'll always side with the pitching. So for me, I'm going to have to pass on the Phillies. There's just no price breaks. I mean, you got Schwarber at 6K, Real Muto at 5.6. Bohm was a guy that was always cheap, but like you said, he's been playing well. So the price came up. Hoskins reasonably priced, but when you start putting it all together, just doesn't leave much room. And I don't want to really go to the bottom of the lineup all that often. So Phillies will be a casualty for me in terms of getting exposure, because I just can't get there with these price tags. Now, most people will run into those same issues, assuming they're trying to pay up at pitching as well. So it should leave it low owned, easy to get leverage, but I just can't do it tonight.
Yep, makes some sense. Next game on the slate, Toronto Blue Jays, Boston Red Sox. Ross Stripling, Josh Winkowski on the mound. Again, this is the weather game. I think it's more of a risk for a delay than a postpone, but I'm not a weatherman. When it gets closer to lock, Discord up to lock show will cover that. Toronto has an implied total above 5, but they are not at home, Hoop, which you do like. Fenway's a good hitter's park, though. So talk about what you're doing with the Blue Jays and what you're doing with the Red Sox.
Yeah, I do prefer him at home, but Fenway against a shitty pitcher is pretty close to a home matchup. So I'm going to be in on Toronto. Just love this lineup. I mean, it's a lineup that I've been on all season long. Treated us well for the most part. They're guaranteed the ninth inning at bats, and I kind of like their lineup here. I mean, yes, Springer, Vlad Guerrero, easy plays. Everyone's going to know to play them. But Bo Bichette batting 6 at 5.1K. Not a lot of people are going to go there. You know where I'm going next, because I talk about it on every freaking show. My guy Matt Chapman batting 7th, 4.8K. People aren't going to like that price tag and the spot in the lineup. I will continue to play this guy just every single slate. He's, I just think a great DFS play when he's in this position. Overpriced and at the bottom of the order, just tons of upside. Not going to mess with my guys Biggio and Bradley. I wish Tapia was in there, but we can't always get what we wish for. So 1 through 7 here firmly in play for me. I think Teoscar Hernandez, another guy that should go overlooked, somewhat expensive. Definitely prefer these guys over the Phillies at similar price tags. So I'm going to be loading up on Toronto. And I just really don't play against Ross Stripling all that much. I mean, I don't think Stripling's an elite pitcher by any means, but he just limits the damage. And I don't love this Boston lineup. So love the Blue Jays. No Boston exposure here.
Makes some sense. Mango, that's an interesting one, because Blue Jays one of the higher implied totals. They are expensive, though, if you want to get the top 7 guys. Winkowski's worse against lefties than he is against righties for sure. Too bad the Blue Jays just don't really have lefties to throw in there. Like, are you getting to JBJ? Are you getting to Biggio? What are you doing with these Blue Jays?
No, definitely no JBJ. I'm still okay with kind of firing on these righties here. I do understand you could be more concerned about it because, hey, the lefties do get to them a little bit more, but this is a Blue Jays lineup that can hit the ball pretty well. I also think that overall, Winkowski's not a guy that I'm scared of, right? I mean, look at his strikeout rate. I mean, last 30 days, it's at 9%. On the season, it's at 13%. I mean, it's not very good. Also, those righties, they get a favorable ballpark here as well for them, for their power. So I'm hoping they can kind of just get the job done here. The thing I also love about that lineup is kind of stuff that Hoop said. Got Matt Chapman in the 7 hole. You got Bichette in the 6 hole. Even Teoscar Hernandez in that 5 hole. And you just can't get, exposure to everyone. So I think overall, I really do like these Toronto Blue Jays. I shouldn't sleep on Jackie Bradley Jr. because it is a revenge game title. So should call that out as well. But hey, I think overall, I'm 1 through 9. I'm okay with playing the Blue Jays. They're my favorite stack on this entire slate just because I trust their upside. Yeah, sometimes they can really disappoint. I totally get that. But I just think the ballpark, the matchup, and Boston just kind of not being a great team in general. If you get that bullpen too, I mean, that's just gold. We talk about that with Washington as well. Washington's a team that, hey, even if you have a starter in there that gets the job done, that bullpen comes out there and they're not good pitchers either. And I'm not worried about that Boston bullpen. So overall, Toronto's a really good stack for me. And I love that they're kind of like the Braves, right? You feel like you can play 1 through 9 for the most part. Yes, Kevin Biggio and Jackie Bradley Jr., not as comfortable, but those salary relief plays might be a little necessary. And I like how they're at certain positions. Kevin Biggio is at second base, a position that I don't typically like the roster. Jackie Bradley Jr., he's in the outfield, which you can sometimes sacrifice having a 2K outfielder to help make things work. So overall, that's kind of my takeaway on the Blue Jays. I'm definitely going to get exposure to them, and they're my favorite stack on this.
Revenge or not, I'm still sleeping on JBJ. He's the one that will not see my roster, but I get it. He is 2K is in the outfield. And you mentioned Mangone. You said the Blue Jays, they've disappointed in the past. They can disappoint. It's MLB. It's a 162 game season. If you're playing every day like we are, every single team's going to disappoint at some point. So I wouldn't take that in consideration too much. At the end of the day, yeah, I mean, that's all I'll leave it at. Like every team's going to disappoint. Blue Jays have been in a great spot a lot of times with the great lineup, high implied totals. They haven't come through. That's what you sign up for when you play MLB DFS.
Yeah, another thing, Title, looks like the weather's getting worse there from what people are saying. That could really keep the ownership down. It could be a blessing in disguise for you, right? You just be like, wow, like I get this opportunity that I didn't think I was going to have where I get to, play this team at lower ownership. Because I think if you took the Texas Rangers and Colorado Rockies off this slate, I think the offense that everyone would gravitate towards would be Toronto. So I think you got to embrace that maybe this weather could help you out. If you have to make a late pivot, like at the buzzer, that's perfectly fine. I understand that. But I think that weather could be really a blessing in disguise for you.
Yeah, good point there. Like I said, before we came on the show, I looked at weather. This was the one weather concern on the slate. We don't have the game for a good amount of time, so I'm not going to be breaking it down. I'm not a weatherman, but you do have to watch weather on this game. You said it got a little worse, man, going. So in Discord on the Up to Lock show, ask DC about it and stuff as well. Keep an eye on that though, for sure. Don't just be plugging in your Blue Jays right now, forgetting about Lock. So next game on the slate, San Francisco Giants, Detroit Tigers, Carlos Rodon, Drew Hutchinson on the mound. If you want the most leverage on the slate, you play the Tigers. I don't think any of us three will be doing that. Go to you though, who talk about these Giants.
This game, I'm definitely not playing Tigers. This game, for the most part, is a fade. I mean, the Giants are just such a tilting team to roster. The pinch hit stuff, it's coming. If a lefty comes in this game, you can say bye to LaStella. You can say bye to Lamont Wade, potentially Jock Peterson. And then who knows, maybe even Yastrzemski. So just makes it a very hard team to stack. The one guy I would play is Jock Peterson. I think he can go yard here, in the first few innings, but I'm just not going to full stack it when I know I'm going to be losing a couple bats here. So game's a fade for me. And I feel pretty good about it. We have 14 games here. So you can't play everyone. I'm good just fading this one.
Man, go.
Yeah, I'm in the Discord chat. You know what they said, Title? I wasn't paying attention to you because they're saying that Albert Pujols, there was no chance he would do well, and now they said ain't no way Jackie Bradley's hitting a homer. So we're having fun in the Discord chat with that. But we are on the Tigers and the Giants, correct, Title?
Correct.
There we go. I call it good. But here's the thing: I'm struggling with the Giants. I kind of want to get behind them against Drew Hutchinson, but my big struggle here, Title, big one is. One, I hate the idea of they switch out their players, right? You got the 5-man stack and someone comes out. That can be frustrating. And I don't know. I feel like picking on Drew Hutchinson, I don't know if this is correct or not. I feel like it hasn't been super profitable. It doesn't feel like it's been this spot where I picked on Drew Hutchinson today and he absolutely blew up. Picking on Kikuchi, that was definitely very profitable and definitely benefited from that. But I just don't know how beneficial it's going to be. This is a 7.5 total too. And hey, Title, I tried a 7.5 total yesterday. And I know I don't want to be results oriented, but I've done pretty good at not doing that most of the year. And then the day I did it, it didn't work out. And I bailed pretty hard, everything bailed on the slate. But I think overall Giants and with that pinch hit risk too, I just think there's too many variables that can go wrong where I just don't want to attack this game.
If you're not attacking the 7.5 total, man, I don't think you're attacking this next one. You got a 7 total, Jose Suarez, Corey Kluber in your favorite park to roster hitters in Tampa Bay.
No, I'm not. And Discord got better. Someone else X'd out Jackie Bradley Jr. So we're getting the Jackie Bradley Jr. home run today. I'm very excited about that. I'm going to play him over playing guys in a 7 total. Again, why do I want to play these options in this game? It's not a great ballpark. Now, yesterday, I get it. It was a really gross slate. Randy Arozarena hit a home run, but no 5-man stacks won the slate. All the stacks that won, there weren't any stacks. It was all these really goofy teams that was a 3-2, 3-1. They were all weird teams. So yesterday was more of an anomaly. If you think it's an anomaly today and you want to take a shot on this game, go for it. But for me, I'm not interested. I do agree. Someone in the chat was saying, the Rays are getting a little bit healthier, but I'm not that excited to roster this team. If it's a couple one-offs, a Arozarena or a Margot, maybe a Diaz, I wouldn't hate it, but this is just not a game for me to go to. There's other games that we can take chances on that are still going to be low.
Who?
Yeah, I'm not playing anyone here. Be fading this game.
Yep, makes some sense. Let's check the likes quick. 530 watching, 223 likes. 300 is the number. I just want to remind you, no one's yelling at me for no buzzer beater. 298. 300 is the number. I know you guys are going to get there for us today, though. Takes 2 seconds. Like button, subscribe button. We always do appreciate it. Next game on the slate, St. Louis Cardinals, Chicago Cubs, Jake Woodford and Adrian Sampson on the mound. This is going to be what looks to be a bullpen game for St. Louis. Woodford's not going to go long. This game only is on DraftKings. It is not on FanDuel since it's a doubleheader going on right now. The first game is going on right now. Hoop, I'll go to you. St. Louis, so they have a decent implied total. It's not the best hitting weather in Chicago, though. Talk about this game for bets.
Yeah, not going to play the Cubs, but I do think the Cardinals are interesting. Their lineup probably won't. Well, let's see, it's not out yet.
How much time's left in that first game?
Yeah, so
Still
it looks
going
like that
on.
game.
Right?
It looks like it just finished up. So that game's done. It was 2-0. I will have some interest in the Cardinals just because I think you're going to be very low owned because of the fact it is a doubleheader. Lineup still not out. So just a little bit of exposure to them, I think, makes some sense for that reason. The team total is nice, approaching 5. So yeah, just to play on ownership where I don't think many people are going to be on them. You get some exposure. You're going to be over the field, but no Cubs.
Mangone?
Yeah, Cardinals, like, man, I'm struggling. I obviously want to see that lineup. I know our boy Snyder, he said one of his soldiers today is Mr. Nuke Bar. So we'll have to see how that shakes out for him. They've been a hot offense. I think you can take a chance on going against Sampson here. Just the question is, how are you going to roster these guys? So like you put in Goldschmidt, you put in Arenado, it's going to get difficult. So if Albert Pujols ends up being in there, that could be intriguing. I don't know if he's going to be in that lineup today, but overall, there's enough value where I think like taking shots on these guys, like a 3-man stack might be where I go. Not as much the 5-man, just because like, I don't know how much I can stomach, like trying to get Goldschmidt and Arenado in there. And then along with the values and those top end pitchers, I feel like it's going to be a little difficult for me where the mini stack might make a little bit more sense today.
Makes some sense. Let's get to the next game on the slate. The Minnesota Twins, the Houston Astros, Aaron Sanchez, Justin Verlander on the mound. It is a 7.5 total, but that's because Minnesota's taking on Verlander without Buxton. So the 7.5 total is because Minnesota's is so low. Sign me up for these Astros today. They are my favorite stack on the slate. Aaron Sanchez is no good. I mean, you look at it. He came back August 1st with his first start back since May. So he was out for a while. He did have a pretty good performance. He had 19. He had 8 strikeouts, which he never does against Detroit, though. I mean, Detroit's just the gift that keeps on giving. Man, these Astros, I think they're going to do some work against Aaron Sanchez. So they're my favorite stack on the slate. Personally, Mango, and I'll go back to you. Talk about these Astros, and then I assume no Twins.
Yeah, we get Yordan Alvarez in the back in the lineup, so that's encouraging to have him there. Glad to see he's okay. But Aaron Sanchez is definitely someone that we can pick on. And on top of that, Houston, maybe it's not the greatest park for, hitting overall, but it is good for that righty power as well. And Yordan, I'm not worried about his power and Kyle Tucker. So that's why sometimes I like Ross and the Astros a little bit, because I get those 2 massive power bats to the lefties. And then I get all those other guys who are good hitters, get that, short porch on the left side. That's a little helpful for those right-handed power bats. So overall, I know it's 7.5 total title, and I said I don't want to attack too many of them, but the reason why is Justin Verlander is out there, and there's a lower total on the Twin side, and there's no Byron Buxton. So that's why that total is so low. See the Astros coming in with almost like a 5-team total. And I think this is the type of slate, if you are going to fade Coors and not play it, you want to find bats that can go out there and just like hit you 3 or 4 home runs. And this is a lineup that has the ability to do it. A lineup that I actually have confidence in getting the job done in the ballpark they're in the matchup that they have. So I think taking a chance on these Astros is a good idea. And also, I'm not scared of that Twins bullpen either. I don't think it's anything that's great. So that's another encouraging sign as well. So I like the Astros just as much as you.
Oop, you joining us on the Astros?
Yeah, 3 for 3. A lot of interest here in the Astros. I mean, a really good matchup here against Sanchez. A lot to like in this lineup. I definitely want Alvarez and Kyle Tucker in my Astro stacks. Gary L's a guy I'll be fine leaving off. It's just kind of frustrating to have him there in that 2-hole, but you can work around it. Mancini, Jeremy Pena. I think Pena is a really solid play down here. Batting 7th. Again, another guy that people probably won't be on because of the 7 spot for hitting. good price tag too, 3.8K. He has upside. He can hit with power. He can steal. I really like Pena down here. I like that middle, like Alvarez, Bregman, Tucker, Mancini, Pena, like that stack. I really like that, like leaving off Jose Altuve and Gary L. So yeah, a lot of different ways you can stack this team, but yeah, they're definitely up there as one of my favorites today. Just a ton of upside tonight in this matchup.
I like it. 3 for 3. Let's go Stros tonight. Next game on the slate, Arizona Diamondbacks, Kansas City Royals, Zach Davies, Jonathan Heasley on the mound. I mean, how do we play the Royals without the Italian Nightmare in there, man, going? He went to the IL. I mean, this lineup doesn't look the same without Big Vinny P. Talk about them and then any Diamondbacks for you.
It doesn't look the same, but I will say I'm not like that scared of Zach Davies, where I think
I agree with you on that too.
Yeah, we can take some chances here for sure. I mean, look at these two pitchers, right? So like, let's start with Heasley. He's got like xFIP is at 550, in the last 30 days. Strikeout rate is at 15%. I'll use like some of like the more season numbers because I think he doesn't have as much for the last 30 days, but it's given up a 304 ISO against lefties. I mean, some of these lefties for Arizona are definitely in play. And then if you look at Zach Davies, I'm not really that scared of him. Yes, he can limit some power, but the one thing I get a little bit worried about with the Kansas City Royals is they feel like a team that if I rostered them, I'd want to make them more of a mini stack. And one of the things that I run into as a problem is, well, when I play these guys, look at the positions they're at and look at the price tags you have to spend on the Kansas City Royals. It just seems like it's a little too high for me. Like, yes, you can put Sal Perez at catcher and then you can put Melendez at outfield, but that's 4.5K and 4.8, right? And then if I want to play some of these other options, I got to go like Ryan O'Hearn or Michael Taylor. And like, how excited am I for those guys? Nick Prado, I don't mind at 2K. He's kind of more of a power guy that I feel some confidence in. Do I want to play Nicky Lopez at 2K? Not really. I think overall, this is a 9 total, and I don't want to sleep on this game completely because if you look at this slate, Coors is coming up next. It's a 10.5 total. That's low for Coors, and I still think ownership is going to come in on that game where I'm going to look for other spots to pivot. And when I make these pivots, I want to look for other totals that maybe people don't go to. And I don't know if people are going to Arizona as much. That's a team that I'm kind of interested in. I feel like they have enough guys at the top of the lineup that I can take a chance on and at the bottom. And I feel like they have enough value plays too. We'll start with like Jake McCarthy at 3.1K. Alec Thomas, 3.4. Those are good value plays that I feel like I can get in there in the outfield and have some confidence in that'll help make my lineups work. At third base, you have Emmanuel Rivera at 2.6K. Feel confident in him. I don't really want to pay 5.2 for Josh Rojas or like even Ketel Marte, but like feel better about Dalton Varsho at like 4.8 and then maybe Christian Walker. But the point I'm getting at is I think overall there's enough value plays and enough spend up options on this Arizona team where I think they're going to fit really well as a 3-man stack. They have a decent implied total. They're out of Arizona, which isn't a great ballpark. Yes, Kansas City isn't like the most glamorous park for hitting, but I think they fit the bill for me as like a nice 3-man stack or 2-man stack that helps make things work in my lineups.
I like it. And settle down, K Fallic and chat. We aren't going through Aaron Sanchez's life story on this show. If you want to look at his life story, K Fallic's typing in the YouTube chat, and then you can check it out there. Hoop, any interest? Diamondbacks and the Royals?
Yeah, I think it's a solid game to attack here. I think a game where ownership is no concern. I mean, just a lot more spots where people are going to go before they come to Arizona and KC. The total sitting at 9, which is very solid on the slate. Diamondbacks, I like quite a bit. And honestly, it's the guys that Mangone mentioned, like Jake McCarthy. I love him at 3.1K. The guy will steal if he gets on base. He's been solid recently. Just a very fair price tag. He's cheap on FanDuel as well. You get a cheap guy in Emmanuel Rivera batting second. Very cheap on both sides, third base eligible. Alec Thomas all the way down there at the bottom. And then mix in some of these other guys, Varsho, Walker. It's just easy to stack them. Yeah, some of the guys are expensive, like Josh Rojas, 5.2, Ketel Marte, 5.2. But when you pair them with some of these cheaper guys, it's an easy stack with what I think is quite a bit of upside. Then on the Royal side, I do want to get, it's a weird slate where there's just not a lot of hitting spots that stand out as like, I need to go here. This spot seems decent for the Royals. Now, are the Royals a fun team to stack? Fuck no, but they have guys to make it work. Like you get a high upside catcher and Sal Perez or Melendez, whichever one you want to go. Bobby Witt has some upside, and then you can pair them with some 2K guys. Ryan O'Hearn is 2K. Michael Taylor is 2K, and Prado's 2K. So a lot of ways to do it. I would probably, like I said, 3-man the Royals. So I'm not looking to full stack this team. you fill some weird spots. I mean, you fill catcher, you can fill shortstop with Bobby Witt, and then you have cheap guys, full punts, like 2K punts in good lineup spots. So interested in both sides, more overall interest in the Diamondbacks, but I think the Royals can be valuable on the slate as well.
And it is one of the best hitting weather on the slate, a little over 80 degrees. So you got that going for you as well. We got 5 games left on this slate. Again, we need 300 likes. I know we're going to get it done today. We got 560 watching. Like button, big red subscribe button. We do always appreciate it. And if you aren't a member and you're looking to join Run Pure Sports, NFL season right around the corner, we got promo code for you. NFL15 gets you 15% off every single month with the life of your subscription. SaberSim is also included. We got NFL premium content out right now. We got preseason football going on, which has been very good. Still 1 week left in that. Best ball going on, a bunch of best ball. I see RPS members in the best ball streets. We have our rankings on the site. Snyder, JSU, and Simon have their rankings up there. So check out the best ball streets. Check out the preseason stuff. And of course, as always, golf, MMA, NASCAR, all that good stuff as well. So NFL15 is the promo code. Gets you 15% off. Head over Run Pure Sports. And again, make sure you do get in the Discord if you do join. Next game on the slate, we're talking Coors Field, Texas Rangers, Colorado Rockies. Dane Dunning, Herman Marquez on the mound. Like I said, I think the Rangers are going to be the most chalky team on the slate. I don't think the Rockies get too much ownership. It is Coors Field. I think bats are pretty spread out on this slate, though. Hoop, what are you doing in this game?
Yeah, a lot of interest, obviously. I mean, I like Coors Field, I think, just about as much as you do. The one thing that is somewhat concerning is it is a little bit of a low total here, 10.5. A lot of times we'll see 11.5, 12, 12.5. 10.5, because I mean the Rangers haven't been all that good, this season, but it's a nice boost. Some cheap bats here as well, and you fill kind of weird spots like Semien at second base, Corey Seager at shortstop. Lowe has a really bad price tag on DK at 3.6K. That's he'll be popular, but man, it's a very good price tag for him. Cole Calhoun, a full punt at 2K, batting fifth. I continue to like playing Leody Taveras. It hasn't been as good lately, but still, if he gets on base, he's a threat to steal. Catcher 2.4K in Villaria or Ria, however you pronounce his name. Ezekiel Duran 2.5K. So you can get exposure to Coors at a discounted rate here. So yeah, I'm in on the Rangers for sure. And then on the Rocky side, I think they will come in lower owned. I'm not as interested in the Rockies, probably more mini stacks for me just because of the way this lineup is constructed. Ryan McMahon's cheap on FanDuel at 3.1K. I have some interest in him, like Brendan Rodgers. I just struggle to pay 5.1K for Brendan Rodgers. I just don't think I can do it. CJ Cron is always in play. So probably more minis on the Rockies side for me. But I have no problem full stacking the Rangers. Then another, I'll play Hillard and Bernard at the bottom of the Rockies lineup. I'm fine using those guys as punts. Hillard 2.4K and this Bernard guy is 2K flat. So I'm in on a lot of these guys, but more interested in the Rangers side.
Mangone, Coors Field, what you doing?
Yeah.
Are you headed to the game is the first question. I assume no, but no laundry. You can't go in that. You can't go in this sleeveless.
No, but I will say I did get like an email because I've gone to enough Rockies games where I get the email promos. Tomorrow, I think there's a day game and it's $1 hot dog day. So, that sounds appealing, but I don't think I'm going to a Coors game today. Texas Rangers tickets are probably dirt cheap, but
aren't they always? Is there any series that isn't dirt cheap? I thought DC is getting $25 stuff behind the home plate.
Yeah, you're not getting $25 behind the plate for Dodgers. I'll tell you that. But right. Like you're
45.
A little more, but yeah, you'll get them. It's probably like 80 or 90, 100, but yeah, you get them for pretty cheap for sure. But I think I'm just fading Coors today. I think I'm out on it. Like first game there always is kind of more disappointing. I just don't want to play it today. It's a 10.5 total. I think there's other spots that are going to be lower owned that I'd rather take the shot on. So no Texas Rangers or Rockies for me. I do want to say our boy K Fallick, he did want me to mention in the chat. It's an Aaron Sanchez revenge game. It's a Carlos Correa revenge game. And don't forget, it's our boy AP's Emmanuel Rivera revenge game. So got a lot of revenge on this slate, more than normal.
Yeah, Mangone's a revenge guy. I'll just leave it at that. Let's get to the next game on the slate. Miami Marlins, Oakland Athletics, Pablo Lopez and Zach. I mean, I said it was Logue, but William, I'm going to trust you. You said just like Luke for MMA. So Logue, Zach Logue, I'm going to say Hoop is right. William, I hope you're not doing me dirty on this one, but Zach Logue, man, this dude does not look good at all. These Marlins, man, that's the thing. I need to hear what you two are saying because I know Steve Boynton has been talking about a little in Discord. Zach Logue looks cheeks. The Marlins guarantee ninth inning at bat. They have good price tags, but I hate playing bats in Oakland. It's 70 degrees. They're going to be unknown though, man, going. So what are you doing? Talk about some of these Marlins for me and any Oakland for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst idea as that mini stack to like help get that 5-man stack that you want with the top end pitchers, right? Like if you are wanting to play the Blue Jays and you want to play those studs, well, how are you going to make it work? That's something you have to think about for sure. So I think guys like Jesus Aguilar at 2.6K, not saying to not play Vlad Guerrero today, but like that is a way to kind of help make that 3-man stack work with Toronto. You get a Jesus Aguilar, you plug in, if Bladay's in the lineup, I like him. He's always at that 2K tag. There's just a lot of 2K options that can help make it work. Like even Brian Anderson at 2.3, he hasn't been that bad. I mean, and when you got guys that are 2K, they don't have to do that much. I mean, yesterday you got 13 DK points. You'll sign up for that at 2.3K. So the point we're getting at is like, it's not the easiest slate. And if you want to spend up for double spend up pitchers and you want to get in a good offense that you're confident is a 5-man, well, you're going to have to sacrifice somewhere. I don't know where you're going to sacrifice, but one spot you can do it is the secondary stack. And it could be with just a bunch of 2K Marlins in a matchup that's pretty appealing. So I don't hate the Marlins as just that like cheap option that can kind of just make everything work for your lineup. Not saying go in and just like plug Miami and like load up, but maybe go in there and include them as a 2 or 3-man stack, run your 5-man stacks in SaberSim and see what it spits out. You might be surprised how much Miami can help make things work for your lineup. So I don't think it's the craziest idea here on this slate. And I'm not playing them because I think they're going to like double dong or something crazy like that. I'm considering it because of what they can do for my full line.
Yeah, and against a bad pitcher. Now, William in chat, man, he said, Logue, just an educated guess. So I'm back to Logue. I'm back to Logue is not right, but I have no clue. Kevin saying Logue Glue. Who knows what this dude's name is, but I think Marlins are pretty interesting. Hoop, any Marlins, any A's for you?
This game will be a fade for me. I mean, I get the argument with the Marlins, but I'm going to take my chances that the Marlins in Oakland on a 14-game slate are not necessary to win. Now, I totally understand the other side of it. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not going to be for me tonight. So I'll be Xing out the Marlins, and I like Pablo Lopez, so I'm definitely not playing any A's bats here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not going to fault you for Xing out Marlins on a 15-game or make some sense. We got 3 games left, and I do not know how long each game's going to take. So last warning for likes, we need 17 more. You guys are going to get done. 560 watching, we need 17 more likes. I mean, it surprised me. I'll look back at YouTube. Well, let me see 330 or something like that. That should be very easy. Then hit that big red subscribe button as well. 10K is getting closer and closer. That'll make Simon very happy. So like button, subscribe button. We appreciate it. 3 games left. Cleveland Guardians, San Diego Padres, Aaron Savale, Mike Clevenger on the mound. At least I mentioned the Mike Clevenger revenge earlier. Man, going forgot it to add in the list. So man, going, I'll go back to you. Any interest in this 7.5 total?
Yep, good point. Mike Clevenger revenge game. We got one more revenge game coming up, so we got a bunch of them today. We'll have to talk about it when we get there. But yeah, I'm not interested in this game. It's a 7.5 total that I don't love. You could make the argument that like, hey, the Padres have really disappointed people, and like, if you're looking for an offense that has a lot of power and pop and get the job done, maybe this is the day to jump on while literally no one's on them. I don't see anyone looking to play San Diego, but for me, I don't think I'm just going to it today. So, hey, if you're someone that has strong conviction on it, I don't think it's the craziest idea to pick on an Aaron Savale, but I don't love this ballpark. I think there's other spots I prefer. So no Padres for me, but it just wouldn't surprise me if, we just sit there and we're like, yeah, we stacked the Padres all week long against the Nationals. And then I have nowhere to just come up and just go off against Aaron Savale.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me either. I mean, the lineup has to be due. I mean, you got Soto, you got Machado, you Bell, Cronenworth. I think it's got to get hot, but they have been disappointing. Hoop, any interest in this game?
Yeah, I mean, not really from an offensive standpoint. I guess pitchers either. I'm not really just not interested in this game at all. But yeah, like you guys said, would I be surprised if the Padres came out and scored 12 and won the slate? No. If they do, I probably won't be making any money because I'm not going to be on them. But the lineup is very powerful. So if you want to go there, I get it. Just not for me tonight.
I don't think this game's going to be for you either, Hoop. It's not a Friday, and these Dodgers are taking on a pretty elite pitcher in Corbin Burns, and I assume no Brewers for you.
Nope. Yeah, another pass here.
Mangone.
Yeah, I mean, this is 7 total. And someone in the chat said, like, why are we sleeping on Tony Gonsolin? Like, I don't think anyone's sleeping on Tony Gonsolin or anything like that. He's been good this year, but here's my problem with him. It's the alternatives, right? Like the other options that I just prefer. Now, if you have a read on him, you're going to get him low owned. So take a chance. Go for it. Don't make us talk you off it. If you like him, feel free to fire it away. I just prefer other options. I don't think he's a bad pitcher. If it was like a shorter slate and a slate where there weren't as many of these good pitchers, he'd probably be someone I go to more. But then he'd also have higher ownership. So you are going to get him very low owned. So if you want to take a chance, sure. But that's in this game for me. It's a 7 implied total. I'm not playing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many pitching options on this slate. You like Tony Gonsolin, no one should talk you off of him. Play him at 1%, 2%, whatever it may be. Last game on the slate, Washington Nationals, Seattle Mariners. Talk about these Mariners a little bit, Hoop. I wonder if you have interest. A decent implied total. It is in Seattle. Washington, I'm not scared of Fetty, not scared of that bullpen. Talk about this game, Hoop.
It's an interesting one. I mean, the Mariners, I think, probably go overlooked here. People typically don't play hitters in this ballpark, but team total for the Mariners is approaching 5, which is one of the highest on the slate. And there is upside in this lineup. I mean, it's a little bit healthier now. Julio Rodriguez, Ty France, Haniger. I don't mind Winker. You got Suarez down there, catcher in Cal Raleigh who has some upside. So I'm interested in the Mariners. I don't think they're all that highly owned. I mean, you got Coors, you got Toronto, you have some other offenses that'll get way more ownership than a team like the Mariners. I think they could be sneaky tonight. Might prefer the 3-man a little bit more opposed to the full 5-man, and just go for the high upside bats. Julio Rodriguez, France, Haniger. Really like that little 3-man mini. I don't think many people will be on it, but the Mariners have my attention tonight at what I believe to be low ownership.
Mangone, any Mariners for you?
Yeah, I like the Mariners call. I mean, I think they're definitely in play. And like we mentioned before, like when Washington goes out there, Eric Fetty's not good. And not only is Eric Fetty not good, but so is that bullpen. It's not a great one. So we can definitely take advantage of that. So I think Hoop brought up really good points. I think this is the lineup that we should not ignore, even though it is in Seattle. And then I do want to talk about it. It's a Nelson Cruz revenge game, right? Of course, we got to bring that up. And he's been hitting the ball a lot better. And Albert Pujols is getting hot. Maybe the old guys start getting it done. And if you are playing the night slate, right? These like night slates where it's like a 2-gamer and there's like guys you want to be different with, maybe like playing Robbie Ray and then like put Nelson Cruz in there as like the one-off home run, because Robbie Ray does give up homers and maybe not a lot of people will do that. So that's kind of a little tip for the night slate that maybe you can take a chance on, but not dying to play those Nationals like on the main slate. And like Seattle, they're good. Don't think I would completely ignore them because of just how bad Washington is. If Washington goes out to any ballpark and throws pitchers out there and a team puts up 10 plus runs, no one is going to be surprised because of how bad Washington is.
Absolutely. That is all 15 games on this slate. It's a monster for sure. It's good at pitching. It's interesting at hitting. It's spread out. I think it's a good slate for sure. So let's talk stacks. Then I'm going to look at the likes. I assume we got the likes done, but hey, I hope to be surprised and see something like 330 or something like that. We'll go top 3 stacks. I'm just going to give one my favorite. I like the Astros a lot today, so they are my favorite. Hoop, or yeah, I'll go Hoop. Give me your top 3 stacks.
Toronto, I think, is going to be number 1. I hope people get scared off by the weather because I'm not seeing much. I think it's good to go weather-wise, but other people are talking like it's a bigger deal. So maybe the ownership comes down a little bit. I'm definitely gonna buy in on the Rangers today. I like the lineup that they put out here. The positions that it fills with Semien at second, Seager at short. Astros, I like a ton. I like those guys towards the bottom too. Like I said, Mancini, Pena, I think both very solid options down there. And then, I think I talked myself into the Mariners a little bit more. I like a 3-man Mariners with those, premier bats. Nice.
I like it, man. Go and give 4 stacks, top 4.
Oh man, top 4 is tough. Toronto, number 1. I'll go Houston, number 2. I'm going to go Arizona, number 3. And like, they're mainly like the mini stack that I really, really like. And then, number 4, it's starting to get a little difficult. I was torn on maybe putting the Yankees in there, but the only thing is like now with Thomas Nido in there, he's like a way better catcher than like a James McCann. So that's something that I'm thinking about a little bit. Who could be that last offense? Maybe I'll just go to Seattle just because at this point, like we just want to pick on these bad pitchers, right? And if people aren't going to go to Seattle, like I think they're really interesting to consider. So also when you play like the later team as well, like at least you can gain some information on the slate and how your team is doing too, and maybe make a decision on that. Just because again, this is not the easiest slate for sure. And I'm just fading Coors Field. I'm hoping it works out for me and playing some other bats and kind of calling it a day, just because I don't think that 10.5 total is worth kind of taking a shot on based on the ownership.
I like it. Yeah, you're going to have to make some tough stands on the slate, some tough fades at pitching, hitting. That's just part of the slate at 15 gamer. Let's, before I'm not going to look at the likes yet. Again, if you do want to be a member and you're not, we do have a promo code going on. NFL 15 gets you 15% off every single month. NFL right around the corner. Cannot wait for that. Already have underdog content up. Already have preseason stuff going on. MLB, NASCAR, I already said MLB, League of Legends or video games, as like Holden likes to say, MMA, golf, NASCAR, so many sports right now. Probably said a couple multiple times, but anything DraftKings offers, we have over at Rumpier Sports. So NFL 15 is the promo code, 15% off. Make sure you get in the Discord if you join. 320 likes. Hey, that makes me happy. I said 330 would make me happy. 320 makes me happy too. So we appreciate it. We're going to dive into the plays of the day and get on out of here for the premium show. I will start with myself first with the SO play of the day. Give me Kyle Tucker right there in the 5-hole against Aaron Sanchez. I really like this Astros team. I think Kyle Tucker goes deep today. So he is the SO play of the day. Sweet Travis, man guns, give us a winner, man.
Yeah, I'm going with a guy that's literally been smashing, and I mean absolutely smashing righties all year long. And it's surprising. I think some people didn't realize he would be this good the start of the year. He's been the best, arguably the best hitter against righties on his team. It's Matt Chapman at 4.8K, third base position. Think he's a really good spend up option towards that bottom of the order as well. Guys that can help kind of make our teams different. So I'm going to go with Matt Chapman as my spend up, who's my play of the day.
Ooh, Rich Parents play of the day.
It should be illegal for another member of the show.
I was waiting for it.
Matt Chapman as the play of the day. That has to be a rule written in. When Who's on a show, you have to leave Matt Chapman for him. But I do like that call. I wasn't selecting him. Matt Chapman, I think just a phenomenal play down there. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna pair up with one of Title's guys here. Like the Tucker call, but I'm gonna go with Jeremy Pena batting 7th. Shortstop eligible, 3.8K. I really like that portion of the Astros lineup. I think they can do some damage here. So it's going to be Jeremy Pena, Rich Parents play of the day.
I knew you were picking them, and I debated myself. Do I be nice and not take them, or do I go mean and take them?
We can ride. We can ride together.
Yeah, that's why I did it. Yep. I like it. Yep. Kyle Tucker, Matt Chapman, and Jeremy Pena, the 3 plays of the day. Long show, 15 game slate, a massive one. Looking to see some RPS logos up top. Head over to the live show chat right now. Get the premium show, DC, see what he's on. Playbook up as always, core plays, cash chart, you name it. Head over to live show chat. Watch the premium show. Let's see some RPS logos up top for Mangone, who Simon behind the sticks. I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.